A storm is loud. That is most of what a storm is. Wind, pressure, water. Arriving somewhere it wasn't a minute ago. While one is happening, it feels like the only thing that exists. But a storm has a requirement it never mentions. It needs somewhere to happen. It needs air to move through, ground to land on, a room to rattle. And the somewhere is not the storm. The somewhere is quieter than the storm, larger than the storm, and untouched by it, in a way the storm cannot be untouched by itself. At 3 in the morning, when the mind is replaying the meeting, forecasting the disaster, relitigating a decision from years ago, it feels like you are the storm, all wind, all pressure. But notice what happens in the moment you can say that. Something in you is reporting the weather. Something is standing where the report gets filed. That something is not raining. For 5 episodes, this channel has mapped the machinery of the restless mind, where thoughts are stored, why they repeat, who keeps signing your name to them. Tonight is different. This is the first episode about the way out. And the way out is not a technique, not a trick, not one more thing to try at 3 a.m. It is a position. You are the room the storm is happening in. The rest of this essay is about noticing that you already live there. Go back to episode 1. You were given 8 words. I'm having the thought that I will fail. At the time, it looked like a demonstration, a small exercise to show how a thought loses some of its grip when you name it. It wasn't a demonstration. It was the whole move. Everything this channel will ever teach you is a variation on it. Look at what the sentence actually does. It does not argue with the thought. It does not check whether the thought is true. The content is untouched. The failure, the meeting, the diagnosis, whatever the storm is made of tonight. What changes is where you are standing when the thought arrives. Inside a thought, the thought is the world. You don't have the thought, I will fail. You are, briefly, a person failing in a future that hasn't happened. Having the thought is different. Having the thought means there is a you, and a thought, and some distance between them. And the distance was there before you said the sentence. The sentence didn't create it. The sentence pointed at it. This also explains something from episode 1 that was left hanging. You may have noticed, counting thoughts, that counting a thought and believing a thought cannot quite happen at the same time. Now you know why. Counting requires standing where thoughts can be seen, treating them as objects, things that arrive and pass. Believing requires standing inside one. Those are 2 different addresses, and you cannot occupy both in the same instant. The difference between them is not effort, and it is not content. It is position. Here is the part that should change how you approach everything that follows. You are not going to build this position. You cannot build it because you already have it, and you have already used it, probably this week. Think of the moment, mid-spiral, when it occurs to you, I'm spiraling. There is a strange split second there, a doubling. One of you is spinning. Another of you has noticed the spin. The noticing did not stop the spiral. Often the spiral resumes a moment later and takes credit for the interruption. But for that instant, the room announced itself. Or think of the last time you drafted an angry reply. Somewhere around the second paragraph, a quiet awareness arrives. You are watching yourself write this. Suddenly, there are 2 of you at the desk. The writer, flushed and certain, and the witness, saying nothing, seeing everything. You did not summon the witness. It was there before you looked. In episode 2, you were asked, when a familiar loop started, to say one word, replay. That word was never meant to change the loop. It was the room speaking, the seeing reporting on the scene, out loud once. So, the instruction for this episode is not build a watcher. There is no assembly. The instruction is smaller and stranger. Notice that the watching was already running. It has been running all along, quietly, behind every thought you have ever had. The work is not construction. The work is noticing that construction would be redundant. The Yogācāra thinkers of the 4th century did not treat this as a pleasant metaphor. They built it into the architecture of consciousness itself. In their analysis, and this is a first approximation, every moment of consciousness ships in two aspects at once, a seen part and a seeing part. They called the pair nimitta and darshana, the seen and the seeing, two faces of a single moment, not two separate things. Not a mind over here and a watcher over there. One event, with a grasped side and a grasping side. The way a coin arrives with two faces, which means the room is not something added to the storm. Every thought, every image, every 3 a.m. forecast already comes with a seeing built in. There has never been a moment of your mental life that was all storm. There cannot be. A moment of pure seeing with no seeing would be a storm with nowhere to happen. And that is not a thing. The trouble, as regular viewers will have guessed, is the 7th consciousness, the loop this channel calls by its old name, manas. Its full-time job is to grab the machinery of experience and stamp it mine, me, myself. It claims the storm as identity. I am anxious, I am failing. It talks over the seeing so reliably that the seeing goes unnoticed. Not absent, unnoticed. That distinction is the whole exit. Now, what this isn't, it is not a way to stop the storm. Say that plainly, because every instinct will want to use it that way. If you take up watching, in order to make thoughts stop, watch what happens. The watching tightens, starts checking its own results. Is it working? Am I calmer yet? And at that moment the watching has become one more thought, one more storm cell, and you're inside it. Watching that strains is weather. The room does not fight the storm. It holds it. The room's only qualification is that it is not made of wind. So, here is the honest version. The storm does not stop. Nothing needs to stop. Nothing needs to stop for you to step back. What changes is the address. You stop being weather and notice that you are where weather happens. That is not a promise of calm. It is a promise of position. And position turns out to matter more than calm. Modern clinical psychology arrived at the same coordinates and called it decentering. The shift from experiencing thoughts as facts to experiencing them as passing mental events. To a first approximation, it appears to be one of the better understood mechanisms behind why observation-based practices help. 16 centuries apart. The same map. The resemblance is not subtle. One more plain thing. This channel is philosophy, not treatment. If the storms in your mind feel frightening, or they are getting larger, a real person, a professional, beats any video, including this one. What follows is not a description of a practice. It is 3 minutes. You can do it lying down in the dark. Right now, settle wherever you are. You don't need to sit up. You don't need to close your eyes. The storm, if there is one tonight, can stay. Take one slow breath. Not to relax, to mark the start. Now, do nothing. Wait. A thought will come. Let it. When it comes, don't follow it and don't fight it. Notice one thing only. Something noticed. Before you knew what the thought was about, something registered that a thought had arrived. That registering is the room. Another thought will come. Maybe it already has. Same move. Let it arrive. Let it be about whatever it's about. Your business is not the content. Your business is the fact that it was seen. If you catch yourself inside a thought, halfway down a corridor, mid-argument, mid-forecast, good. That catch is not a failure. That catch is the room announcing itself again. It will happen many times in 3 minutes. Each catch counts. If you notice yourself trying, straining to watch, checking whether you're doing it right, see that too. Trying is a thought. It can be watched like any other. Now for the last stretch, drop even the instruction. Sit where the weather happens. Thoughts arrive, thoughts pass. You are not arriving. You are not passing. You are the room. One more breath. Done. Nothing needs to feel different. The position was the point. This practice is becoming the 3-minute reset in the Storehouse app being built now. It will be free forever. No account, subscribed or not. StorehouseMind.com. Next episode, if watching is the exit, why does thinking your way out keep failing? There is a loop that dresses up as problem solving, and it has been running your escape attempts for years. We'll take it apart. Seen is enough.